Cease all farming operations immediately. Elaine Harper barked, planted in the heart of my vineyard like she'd claimed it as her own. Flanked by two lackeys in cheap polos, one clutching a clipboard, the other an orange cone, she waved a flimsy document, threatening to arrest me for illegal agriculture on my own land. It was absurd, almost comical, except for the fire in her eyes. I bit my tongue to keep from laughing, tasting blood. What Elaine didn't know, what made my silence sharper than any retort, was that I wasn't just a farmer. I was the state's chief agricultural enforcement officer. I didn't just know the law, I'd helped write it. She'd marched onto my turf, declared war, and had no idea she was about to lose everything. It began when I settled in Cedar Vale, a glossy new HOA community butting against my family's 30-acre estate. The land, ours for 3 generations, predated the HOA's manicured lawns and pastel mailboxes. My great-grandparents tilled it. My mother raised sheep. I'd spent 5 years reviving the soil for a vineyard, balancing my city job with my heritage. Living near work while tending my roots was perfect. But the HOA, led by Elaine, saw my grapevines as a blight on their suburban utopia. It started with a smudged note on my gate, whining about visual disharmony. My land wasn't theirs. Zoning maps drew a clear line. I sent a polite letter with my deed, expecting clarity to end it. I underestimated Elaine. She wasn't just an HOA president. She was a tyrant in designer scarves, ruling like her title granted divine authority. Whispers told of her finding a neighbor for a mismatched birdhouse. She wore blazers to prune her roses and ran meetings like court-martials. My independence, just beyond her reach, drove her wild. 2 weeks after my letter, I found tire tracks scarring my vineyard's edge and a laminated sign staked in the dirt. Violation. Unapproved farming. It mimicked official notices, citing fake land use ordinances. This wasn't a mistake. It was trespassing and impersonation. I kept the sign, installed motion-activated cameras, and braced for more. Soon, I caught 2 strangers poking at my irrigation pump, claiming to be community compliance officers sent by Elaine's executive order. They handed me a PowerPoint-crafted citation, demanding I dismantle my equipment in 24 hours. All land here answers to the HOA, one said. I laughed. This is state-protected agricultural property. They scurried off, but Elaine's email arrived that night. A screed of bolded threats about landscape violations and commercial misuse, complete with a Google Earth screenshot circling my vineyard like a crime scene. I replied, citing the Agricultural Protection Act, zoning laws, and my title as state enforcement chief. Silence followed, then escalation. The next morning, pruning vines, I heard her voice. Elaine stormed in, trailed by her goons in neon vests, reading a community enforcement order from a sheet labeled Warrant 0001. I stifled a chuckle. "You're destroying neighborhood unity," she shrieked. "Impersonating law enforcement on protected land is a felony." I shot back, flashing my badge. "I'm the state agricultural enforcement chief. I certify your HOA's compliance." Her face froze. Her lackeys paled. "Misunderstanding," she stammered. "I was told this was HOA land." "By who?" "You." I stepped closer. "You've trespassed, issued fake citations, and tried to arrest a state official. This ends now." She fled, her minions stumbling after. The vines swayed in the breeze, whispering defiance. Elaine wanted me erased, but she'd lit a fuse. I began documenting everything. Photos, timestamps, GPS coordinates, chaining evidence like a prosecutor. Elaine wasn't alone. She had a board eating her lies. A neighbor, Lillian, slipped me HOA meeting minutes revealing Elaine's plan. Rewrite rules to ban visible agriculture, labeling grapes a health hazard, to force me out. She dreamed of a sterile, luxury Cedar Vale. My vineyard was a stain on her vision. I called my state legal advisor and zoning contacts, securing documents proving my land's untouchable status. Any HOA vote to control it was void, but I needed the community to see her fraud. Instead of raging online, I hosted Vines of Truth, an open vineyard day. I offered wine tastings, honey from my hives, grape juice for kids, and talks on sustainable farming. My son set up chairs under the pines. A local band played. Over 60 neighbors came, sipping and smiling, snapping photos of the nuisance vines. Elaine lurked at her property's edge, glaring, her HOA dogma crumbling as residents posted glowing reviews. Her empire of fear was cracking. She retaliated with an emergency town hall, a thinly veiled coup. At the Cedar Vale clubhouse, she ranted about agricultural threats, pushing a retroactive ban on soil-based growth. I sat in my state jacket, taking notes. Her board, her puppets, voted yes. She slammed a gavel she had no right to wield. As the crowd dispersed, I approached, handing her a state-issued cease and desist. Your vote's illegal. You've harassed protected land, faked authority, and misled your board. Further action is zoning fraud. Her gavel slipped, clattering. Murmurs rippled. Her allies squirmed. I addressed the room. Read the real laws. They're public, unlike her lies. The silence was deafening. 3 days later, yellow, HOA investigation, tape wrapped my vineyard, with a fake sign declaring it closed. Lillian filmed it, signaling allies. I photographed everything, filing complaints with the county. That afternoon, an SUV with HOA security magnets arrived. 2 wannabe cops in black polos, one with a body camera, marched up. You're detained for community disruption, one said, citing my irrigation hose as evidence. I flashed my badge. You just tried to detain a state official on protected land. That's impersonation and attempted unlawful arrest. They froze. I called the sheriff, who arrived in 15 minutes, confiscating their fake IDs and warning them off. Elaine appeared in a suit absurd for dirt paths, screeching about aesthetic disruption. A deputy cut her off. You have no jurisdiction. This is a crime scene now. Neighbors filmed, phones glowing. Elaine's power, built on secrets, unraveled publicly. An anonymous package arrived at my office. HOA emails, notes, a phase-out plan targeting my land with sabotage schemes. Lillian's work, I suspected. It proved conspiracy to harass me off protected land. I handed it to state investigators, triggering a multi-agency probe. The sheriff warned the HOA to stop patrols. Zoning officials dug into permit fraud. Elaine's newsletters, crying state tyranny, found no audience. Neighbors apologized, left pies, asked for vine clippings. The state's investigation, with my complaint and authority, grew fierce. Leaked documents showed Elaine's harassment blueprint, fake fines, sabotage plots. Colleagues marveled at her recklessness. She broke every law in one email, one said. I spoke at the next HOA meeting, binder in hand. Elaine, sunglasses indoors, played victim, decrying outsider attacks. I stood. Imnocide. My land predates Cedar Vale. This is a criminal probe, trespassing, fraud, attempted detention of a state official. Gasps echoed. Her board crumbled. 3 resigned by morning, citing legal risks. Residents shared tales of Elaine's abuses, baseless fines, secret cameras. Financial audits revealed her paying ghost contractors and skimming fees. Charges piled up: zoning interference, impersonation, fraud. The story hit the news. HOA tyrant targets state official's vineyard. Memes mocked Elaine's gavel. A parody Vine Justice page bloomed. My inbox filled with support. Elaine vanished, blinds shut, car gone. I proposed an agricultural heritage zone for my land, approved unanimously, framing the certificate as a trophy. An anonymous video surfaced. Elaine at night, snipping my grapes, caught trespassing and stealing. I gave it to investigators, saying, "It speaks for itself." The trial was a spectacle. Elaine sat deflated as charges: zoning fraud, impersonation, trespassing, attempted detention unfolded. The grape-snipping video silenced her defense. Testifying as victim and enforcer, I detailed my land's legacy and her crimes. The jury convicted her in hours. The judge fined her heavily, banned her from HOA roles, and ordered probation. Cedar Vale's board dissolved. A new, Honest one rose, exempting my land and partnering for tours. Elaine fled to a distant condo, her name a local joke. I hosted Freedom Harvest, a festival with music, food trucks, and vineyard walks. The sheriff toasted me. You saved more than your land. You showed roots beat paperwork. At sunset, I spoke. Authority isn't titles, it's trust. Neighbors clapped, not as fans but as equals, sipping wine from my nuisance vines. I felt peace. Elaine thought she'd bury me. She didn't know I was planted deep, growing stronger with every lie she told. Cedar Vale was free, and my vineyard stood taller than ever.